B1AG, I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and the producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, I'm trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of our presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that may otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to B1AG. Here at B1AG, we focus on Black agriculture as it pertains to agricultural production, education, marketing, health, food, nutrition, and economics for the Black family and the Black community. I hope you're doing well. We're back again. And today's topic centers around a 1973 movie called Soylent Green that was starred Charlton Heston. Now, there's a new tech food startup that is offering meals that are basically condensed into food cubes. And the title for today's show is just referring to that movie. This new food startup, Eerily, resembles Soylent Green. Now, Soylent Green is, since the beginning of that movie in '73, it's actually focused in New York City in the year 2022. And it's, it brings to question that adage, does art imitate life or is life imitating art? As a lot of these movies, these dystopian movies or futuristic movies, they seem to be coming true right before our eyes. And just to give you just a little bit more background, we're going to just show you the movie trailer from the movie Soylent Green from 1973. So y'all check this out.
What is the secret of Soylent Green? New York City in the year 2022. Nothing runs anymore. Nothing works. But the people are the same. And the people will do anything to get what they need.
This is the police.
What they need most is Soylent Green.
The supply of Soylent Green has been exhausted. Return to your home.
What is the secret of Soylent Green? Detective Sergeant Thorne. He has a 2-year backlog of unsolved murders. Now he's on a case that must be solved. Saul Roth, Thorne's private library.
Hey, Saul.
A living book in a world without books.
Have some pencils, courtesy of your next assignment. William R. Simonson.
Simonson. He was the first to learn the secret of Soylent Green.
They told me to say that they were sorry, but that you had become unreliable.
Saul Roth was the next to know.
How did we come to this?
And he chose to die rather than reveal the secret of Soylent Green. What is the secret of Soylent Green?
Why did you set up Simonson?
I didn't. Cheryl.
See your hands.
Officially, she's furniture. She comes with the apartment. She belongs to the tenant.
How many times you been in trouble with the police, Cheryl?
Never.
Can't hear you.
Never.
Captain Hatcher. First, he wanted this case solved.
Simonson. Well, what do you say?
It was an assassination.
Now, he just wants it
Who
closed.
bought you? High and hot. And they want this case closed permanently. Their way. Now, you sign this. You sign it!
Thorne refuses to close the Simonson case.
Just do what you have to do. Where did you go with Simonson?
He took me to church.
Church.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It has been 6 months since my last confession.
Charlton Heston, Edward G. Robinson, Chuck Connors, Lee Taylor Young, Brock Peters, Paula Kelly, and Joseph Cotton fight for survival and try to solve the most bizarre riddle ever to face mankind. The search for the secret of Soylent Green. You will find out why Soylent Green means life. You will find out why Soylent Green means death.
We gotta stop him!
What is the secret of Soylent Green?
Please!
Okay, now this movie trailer, we showed it to you. Basically, Soylent Green is a food substitute for the people. However, it turns out that this Soylent Green, these food cubes that everyone was, you see them in the streets. They wanted it. They had to have it because this is their source of food. And as it turned out, that those food cubes were actually made from human bodies. So that movie became very important. It was a very important movie in '73, and it's very important now. And it's also, and it's so important that this Soylent Green concept and idea has been referenced in modern times too. I also would like to show you how Soylent Green was referenced in Futurama, a cartoon spinoff from The Simpsons. They talked about Soylent Green and referenced it too. So check this out real quick. Just give me some background of Soylent Green before we get into this story.
And now, Chairman Koji will present the theme ingredient to be used in every dish today.
If it's chicken, chicken a la king. If it's fish, fish a la king. If it's turkey, fish a la king.
Soylent Green! Soylent Green, a classic ingredient of gourmet cooking. And the battle is on.
Okay, so today's topic, new food startup eerily resembles Soylent Green. Really, what do you got to say about this, Farmer Brown? Let's go ahead and just get started because we've shown them a lot of videos trying to give them the backdrop of what Soylent Green is, but this is actually a pretty serious topic today.
First, I'd just like to say peace to the B1 family. Hope everybody's doing well. They would use the brother as the op to cover up and, try to close this case down. We saw the first man that knew what was going on got Epsteined. He knew what was going on, so that, they had to eradicate him. But yeah, I just think these timelines are very eerie. And so the year 2022 was when, all of this was introduced. It was set in New York City, overcrowded, food supplies scarce, and the elite decided, okay, we'll just give these people dog food, basically. And like you said, it turned out to be dead bodies. And so I would just like to preface for today's conversation, we don't come from a Chicken Little Skies Falling perspective, more so than how do we tie these current events to our food security in the melanated community. We were talking with Dr. Boyce the other day, like right now in North America, 8% of what we call Black, African-American, melanoid people in a census live in a census tract with a grocery store. 8% of us live in a census tract where there's a grocery store available. 31% of what we call white people live within a census tract of a grocery store. What does this mean? We know if you live closer to a grocery store, and studies show you're more likely to eat fresh produce, you're more likely to have healthier outcomes. If so, 8% of us live close to one versus 31% of any other group, any other ethnicity, this is definitely going to have broader implications. When we think about the rent moratoriums right now, the Supreme Court shut that down. So there's going to be a lot of people left and distressed out, on the streets in this coming winter. When we think about a lot of the stimulus money that has been put out because of the pandemic, a lot of that's being cut. According to CPI, and so consumer inflation for products that we eat, such as meats, up 6%, eggs 6%, milk 6%, energy is 24%, gas is 42%. I can sit and go through these numbers all day, but what these numbers equate to is you're going to get less for your dollar, less bang for your buck. When we think about food security, the concept of, okay, before we can engage in the arts, entertainment, we have to eat. We have to feed our children. We have to feed our elderly, our sick. Food is going to become a lot more costly. And so when we have discussions like what we're having today about this company, somebody set out to figure out a way to feed people. And so I definitely look forward to getting a little deeper into this, diving into this rabbit hole, because this absolutely will affect the melanated community. And, I feel like if you people like Bill Gates, Bezos, the founder of Google, all of these financial elites are investing in food futures, and what the future of food looks like, I think is definitely an area that the melanated family needs to look at as well.
Now, the purpose of the food startup is called SquareEat. Their plan is to introduce these square meals. It's actually just like a square patty, and it's supposed to taste like beef or taste like chicken or taste like turkey, but give you this nutritional value in a square meal. Now, the purpose of this is because, we've been talking about this on B1AG since the beginning. This is our main motivation, is because, food production, food security, these are all things that are really being threatened at this time. We are in the middle of a food crisis, whether you know it or not. We are in the middle of supply chain shortages and disruptions. So SquareEat is a proposed solution to dealing with food production and supply chain issues. So we can just show you exactly what SquareEat is. We're going to show you another video. It's only 1 minute and 34 seconds. Please bear with us. But this is breaking down exactly what SquareEat is.
Hello everyone, and welcome to SquareEat. Today we're going through the unboxing together, from the moment you receive your bag to our favorite cooking methods. So let's get to it. Deliver our refrigerator bag right to your door, and inside you can find our unique box. It comes with 4 or 6 different squares. Each and every single one of them weighs 50 grams. You can find all the nutritional facts by just simply scanning the QR code on top of it. We have different warm-up methods, but what we like the most is to heat them up for about 30 seconds in the microwave to then finish in a hot pan. Once we're done in the microwave, we can start opening up our bags through the easy cut. Our squares are now ready for the second part. Make sure you have a hot pan, and for your own convenience, we actually added an herb-infused extra virgin olive oil to give it a crunchy touch. We suggest you to put a little bit, not too much, when we start cooking, and a little bit at the end, when they're actually finished. So now our squares are done. Let's just put them in the plate. and finish them off with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, like we did before. This is so good. Hope you enjoy it as much as we do.
They say you are what you eat. I don't think none of us want to be squares.
Well, there's a lot of things, a lot of implications with this new idea of SquareEats. Most of the time when we eat, it's more of a social gathering. But at the end of the day, when we eat, we're supposed to eat for nutrition. And this just breaks down. It's like almost like a astronaut food. When you're in space, they're not really concerned about you sitting down to a pretty plate of food. They just want to make sure that you get your nutrition. And it's getting down to the basics like that here in real life too. And that's what it looks like with this SquareEats company. I don't know about me personally wanting to just eat just a square, and what is actually in the square, I'm not sure. But it definitely lends a lot to think about and talk about when it comes to our food intake, food production, and actually what food is going to look like in the future.
Follow the science, man. Follow the science. Trust us.
It doesn't look like
the mystery meat.
It doesn't look like mama's cooking to me. It definitely doesn't look like mama's cooking to me.
I mean, so when you think about it, bro, I agree with you. The purpose of eating is to recharge yourself. That's as ancient as humans. And so right now, when it comes to production, and so more squares. When we think about the shipping issues as far as just logistical, we get a lot of our food from Asia, over the ocean. A lot of our food is imported in North America. When we're thinking about the family in other parts of the diaspora, for some weird reason, the majority of what we eat is always from somewhere else. When I think about the brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, that's some of the most arable land to produce, but 80% of their food is imported. But right now, as far as production cuts, we think about something like bacon. Bacon hadn't always been around. Ribs. People didn't always eat ribs as we understand, just get a rack of ribs, throw barbecue, wings, even tenders. Right now, the production is being cut on those specific cuts of meat for people that are still eating meat. There's a shortage on canning jars right now, or lids for canning jars. Like I said, the number one wholesale distributor of food, Cisco, right now their orders exceed their capacity to supply it. And so we definitely see that there are some real-time changes happening within our food security. That's on the logistical, practical, tangible end, widgets, right? Okay, you got something you want, I have the company to process it and give it to you. So we see there's a hold up in that. We haven't even talked about the political ramifications with the pandemic going on now if you don't have this piece of paper, you can't come in this establishment that serves food. That's a whole different dynamic. And so once again, what we in September, so we're heading into October, November, December, the coldest times of the year. Depending on where you're at, if you're in North America, this isn't the prime, you're close to harvest time. But then with that harvest, is this going to be enough to get you through the coldest winter, as some people will call it? And so playing devil's advocate, I can kind of see the value, the distant value of having these food squares. If you ask me, would I eat them or feed them to my kids or loved ones? No. But, what is our alternative, family?
One alternative that we always talk about here at B1AG is grow your own food. At least you know what you're eating. At least you can say that regardless of what's going on in the world, I do have some food growing out in my yard or on my porch or, on my balcony that I can feed myself. That was always, I didn't realize this until I got to college, because my grandfather was a farmer. So I grew up farming with my grandfather, and I never knew, what a ramen noodle was until I got to college. Because regardless of how much money we had or how little money we had at the time, it did not affect our food intake. Even when we were dead broke, we ate very rich because my grandfather was a farmer. So we could have zero money in our pockets, but steaks, 4 or 5 course meals, 2, 3, 4 different types of vegetables, 2, 3, 4 different types of meats, different breads. We ate like kings. You know what I'm saying? I grew up eating like a king. But when I got to college, it's like, dang, I only got $5. What am I gonna eat for the week? You hear me? So 2 for 2 Whoppers, was a staple. 2 for 2 Whoppers and ramen noodles was a staple of my diet when I was in college. And that's when I realized the power that you have when you can feed yourself and it's not tied to how much money is in your pocket. That's power. That is a power. There is power in that. And you can claim this power for yourself by just simply growing your own food, helping to supplement your own diet by growing your own food.
And so, think about this. And so you are in South Georgia. I have a similar family story. My mom's in her 70s, and I remember her telling me stories. I equate the South with food. Yeah. My family looks at me like I'm crazy, like they try to stuff me whenever I go down there. But like I said, it was always food at Ma's house. And my mom said she was in high school before a teacher told her that she was poor. And so she literally lived all the way in her teen years and didn't know they was poor because there was always food. And I also had a grandmother that was in the house preparing meals. So fast forward to 2021, we did a story a few weeks back. There's more than 50% of the country gets the majority of their meals fast food or delivered. We're at a point basically where our food security, our daily intake of calories, nutrients is going to be from, okay, I have to go to a location and get it today. We're not here to impugn anybody or accuse anybody or say anybody's wrong. This is the nature of, hey, I got to go work my job. So I don't have, some people say I don't have time to cook. I'm doing this all by myself. And so, there's nobody else to watch the kids. And so we have all of these dynamics. But like I said, when we look at the time and space that we're in, specifically tied to this story of food squares, I was talking about this yesterday. Last few times I've gone to the grocery store, I'm talking about whole aisles are empty that at one point in time were full of food and they're empty. And so this isn't me making it up. It isn't me thinking, oh, what if? Hey, these are empty. You can do all the positive affirmations, whatever. If the thing you went to the store to buy isn't there, the mind got to go to, okay, what does this look like X amount of weeks down the road, months down the road? We see what happened down in New Orleans. And so a lot of the Keystone Pipeline, a lot of pipelines were affected. So this is going to go up on gas. This is going to go up on natural energy. So, okay, if I'm in a household, okay, now I got to decide what I'm going to eat versus keeping the power on. Because if I don't have any power and, I didn't come up in a time where I learned how to cook on a grill or in a fireplace or go outside and set up a fire pit. Now, what am I going to do? These are the hard decisions a lot of us are going to be having to make them very shortly. I don't want to make it like it's negative. I want to make it like I think this is the grand awakening of how much all of us. I don't put myself outside of this box. All of us are dependent on a system that whether this system is ran by individuals or it was just a system that came together and nobody checked it. We're highly dependent upon an unsustainable system. For us to enjoy a lot of the meals we eat, it's at the expense of somebody working for cheap labor. It's at the expense of somebody working in, I know over in Asia, they say they have nets outside of these buildings where people are working because they're trying to jump out and commit suicide. And so a lot of the amenities, conveniences that we enjoy are at the expense of somebody being distressed. And so, as us, the main people in the world right now, speaking up for reparative justice, I think there is a huge piece of this reparative justice that only we can fix ourselves. There is absolutely financial and material justice that, if you want to call it oppressor class or there's a role that they play, but there's in my opinion, a larger role that we play. And particularly it starts with being able to produce our food. Because at the end of the day, if I'm on the other side of this way, I'm not going to pay you this stuff back. And I'll give you a new president. I'll give you a new leader every 4 years. And I'll just let y'all exhaust yourselves. Because I know each year you're demanding this from me, demanding that. If you're not out in the field creating producing your own food, if you're not supporting your farmers, because right now I'm paying my farmers not to grow anything. I'm paying my farmers more. Hey, just leave your field bare. Don't put anything in it. Let your vegetation grow back under the auspice of conservation. And so what's happened is we've allowed ourselves to be put in a situation where we're dependent on something that can easily starve us out. This isn't one individual. It's like if you have this magical gun with a magical bullet to fix the problem, there's no one source. There's literally a system built on our dependence. We were talking the other day, and I ain't going to prattle too much about it. We were talking the other day about the crate challenge. Those crates, if you can put on some magical goggles, each of those crates were a square foot of garden space. You can grow food in something like a crate, because that was another piece of what I wanted to say. So we got some people that's in apartments, some people that's in areas where they don't have green space. But this is the irony of a crate challenge, because those are the perfect containers. When we're talking about urban gardening, those are the perfect containers to produce food. Up in New York, I was reading an article there. They had 32,000 crates that they were using to supply a chain of restaurants. This is in New York City. How do we apply this to the hoods? How do we apply this to areas where, okay, we're not around big garden spaces? We're going to have to be very resourceful, family. And the sad part about it is, if we're not going to be resourceful, then our alternative is these squares and the mysteries that lies within.
Now, we've all seen that crate challenge. Some people love to watch it and laugh. I'll look at it and I really want to cry. But instead of, that crate challenge as it's currently set up, we challenge people to use crates like this. You can see those same milk crates lined with landscape fabric, put in dirt, potting soil. You can plant and grow in those. And that's a very small space. You got 6 milk crates growing food. That food right there on that person's porch or balcony, that food can save them. Bring them food, sustenance, nutrition, nourishment.
So when we think about indoor vertical farming or gardening, meaning instead of growing horizontally where I need a wide space, okay, I'm gonna condense my growing space within a corner. I'm gonna allocate, maybe one of my rooms. And so as we're coming into the winter, and so some specific winter crops that can be grown indoors, break it down to the science. What is it that plants need? They need water, light. But when we think about the winter, when it's colder outside, so lettuce, this is something that can be grown indoors or outdoors. Arugula, spinach, kale, microgreens are very healthy. Cherry tomatoes, different varieties of peppers, sprouts, and herbs. All of these can be grown indoors. On average, everything's going to be different based on your region. They're going to need it, if they don't have direct sunlight, south facing, then you're going to need at least 12 hours of artificial light. What is this? When we're thinking about energy conservation, okay, I got my light on, I just have it on to have it on, or I have this light on, but under this light, I have X amount of crates with my microgreens. I plant these I seed these microgreens, I plant these microgreens every few weeks. And so I'll have a consistent rotation. And many of these you can harvest between 25 to 60 days. Once again, we as a people, we got to think long term, because going back to this Soylent Green concept, somebody in the 70s, and it's just crazy. I could see if it was year 2025 and somebody came up with these square cubes as a food source, but it's literally 2022. This is the year that was spoken of in this so-called fiction movie of Soylent Green. And so meaning there was some time between when this was first spoken of to when it came into manifestation. So I guess my inquiry to the family is, what kind of things are we manifesting, within the melanated community, within the B1 community, when it comes to our food security? Are we going to continue to manifest dependency and keep getting upset with something that clearly profits? Every one of these companies, every one of these scientists, whoever this gentleman was from wherever he's at, he's spent some time in his life. He's networked with some people. They've discussed. They've run trial runs. They've run pilots. Possibly worked with their local colleges to do some actual research to see, now, is this square form of food nutrient, is it viable? What does this look like on the production end? There was some work that went behind those squares. And so as a researcher, I got to give the props that, man, somebody came up with something and created a product. But what I know within our community, within our brain trust of melanated minds, when we're not thinking about crate challenges and all of these other distractions, we can compete with the best of them around the world when it comes to focusing our energy on a particular outcome. It is my contention that food security is the one silent thing that we can all agree on. Whether you're Hebrew Israelite, whether you're Nation of Islam, whether you're agnostic, whether you're Christian, Catholic, we all have to eat. We all have to eat, no matter what your deity, whatever it is, the body that you've been endowed with has to recharge. Just like your iPad, just like your phone, you got to recharge. We see that there is definitely a valuable, profitable effort to give people other types of medicines. And, it could be questioned whether it's to keep you healthy or kind of, I need to start culling the herd, so to speak. I need this herd immunity so I can cull you. Who knows? But saying that to say, family, we're in a great situation where all of these truths are being revealed to us at once. While we still have access to what we'll call a relatively free internet, we already see people getting censored. We already see the shadow bans going on. There's a lot of great content online right now that's showing people how to produce food. We have a great program. It's tailored for families and children at healthyblackfood.com. This is one of many. There's a lot of people putting in work, but so I'm making this case. We're going to have to do something if we don't want to be limited to food squares as our choice of food. No matter how much you fight, no matter how rational our arguments are, no matter how legitimate whatever oppression, suppression, attack that we've endured as a people, Black Wall Street was feeding themselves. Black Wall Street thrived, and all the black towns in the South and across what we call Turtle Island thrived because they were producing their own food. How do we apply this same simple concept today in 2021, going into what some people are going to say the dark winter?
I know we have a saying here at B1AG: collard greens over Soylent Green. I prefer to eat some collard greens as opposed to eating Soylent Green. It's coming down to the wire, y'all. That food cube, it may come down to that's all that we have to eat. That's a scary thought, that you have to get a food cube delivered to you or distributed to you if you want to eat. But we do have the power as of now to feed ourselves, and we need to reclaim that power and exercise that power. That is a God-given right to grow your own food. And yes, the dark winter is what they are calling it. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of changes going on in the world. And as we enter the fall, going into the winter, metaphorically and realistically, and just being straight up, it's looking to be a cold winter. So
depending on what school of thought you're coming from, we throw this word build back better, globalization, one world order, however one would want to frame it. One of the things is I can control you if you depend on me. When we're thinking about certain medicinal therapies, gene therapies that have been approved by the Food Drug Administration, okay, if I make you better, and if you're healthy, then I can't make no more profit. If you're not sick, you're not going to come get my treatment. You're not going to come get my help. And so I'm jumping down the rabbit hole on this one. I would say food security has every bit to do with that. So if I'm somebody that's profiting off of a company that's benefiting off of people's sicknesses, and I realize like, hey, if you have these pre-existing conditions, hey, if you're predisposition to diabetes or, these certain ailments, how can I create a food source that keeps you just healthy enough to live? I really don't want you healthy. I just want you healthy enough to where I can keep siphoning your life energy from you in the form of fiat, in the form of blockchain, whatever our means of trade turns into. Power is leveraged by who has access to it. We see the people who benefited off of our dependency on computers, Gates and others like that, are buying up all the farmland now. You see how this game is going. You see how this game plan is working. Like I said, I don't think it's conspiracy theory. Everything we're discussing right now is widely available, openly available to the public. But, metaphysically, when you're operating in truth, you're at your most powerful point. And so those, if you want to call them the ops, they understand that. So I have to be truthful. I have to tell you, this is what I'm doing. It might kill you. It might, make you sterile. It might make you slough and shed on other people. It could. It's still an experiment. If something happens, I'm not going to pay for it. And all of this has been told to the family. But we'll get a versus. I forgot what you talked about because my favorite rapper, it takes me back to a wonderful time. Oh, this person did this and, is dancing around in all of these little small things that are diverting our energy, because any carpenter or gardener can tell you, to be optimal at whatever you're doing, you have to be laser beam focused on it. And any little distraction that comes, it takes that laser beam focus off. You remember Michael Jordan? He used to do the tongue, laser beam focus on hitting that shot. As a melanated family, how can we get a critical mass of us? There's no such thing as getting everybody. How do we get a critical mass of us to focus on this shot of being able to feed ourselves? And whatever might happen, maybe this isn't some just dystopian future taking place. And maybe this is just the opportunity of a lifetime for us to insert ourselves within the food system while it's disrupted. While it seems like there's really nobody sitting at the driving wheel of this thing. It just seems like it's wild. And so is this the best time possible to start getting our children, our youth who are trying to figure out what to do with their lives? Is this the best time to get them refocused on what made our ancestors great? What made us the builders of human civilization? Food, producing food, utilizing resources from the land, to take care of what you need where you're at, and then being able to ship it to other people that don't have access to this same thing. This is very basic. That's the basic core business. I have something, I have an abundance of it. I'm going to use what I use. Now I can ship it to you. When we become dependent on just a handful of companies, I think our food system right now is in the hand of 6 companies. In a world of 7.6 billion people on Turtle Island, it's 44, 49, 50 million of us, depending on which numbers you're going by. Our food security is in the hands of about 6 companies that don't have to ride through your neighborhood. They don't even have to land at your airport. They have their own launch pads and airports and runways. They don't have to look you in the eye. They don't have to look your child in the eye. I can sit from my private jet and just make a decision. These neat crows ain't gonna do nothing about it. Oh, you just gonna throw a sign? You just gonna pout? You just gonna say something smart? Okay, I'm gonna get my bag and you're gonna eat what I give to you. I ain't gonna lie, man, these foods remind me of pet food. And if we, history repeats itself. We were written into this Constitution as 3/5 of a human being for tax purposes. As a melanated family, we're being replaced when it comes to the tax purposes, because people are waking up to the political structure. So we're being replaced. This is what you see happening coming over the ocean, under the border. And it's not my place to disparage anybody wanting to do better for their lives, more so looking at, okay, the community, the orb that I'm in, hey, our need is being disrupted. There's a new bottom class being brought in, and so one has to say there's no such thing as a vacuum. And so, what is our place within this vacuum? And I think as long as we can feed ourselves, we'll always have that chance to fight and push ourselves to where we want to be. But if we allow ourselves here in the next few years to become completely dependent, there's a point of no return.
So the Soylent Green resembling food, SquareEats. This is it right here. You know, those little squares. This is supposed to be our new choice of sustenance. You know, again, it does look like cat food or pet food. You know, is that a viable choice for you? Now we're talking about square food. You know, going back to the milk crate challenge. Do you want to do this, tumble down, or would you rather use that square milk crate to make some food? That's the square food I'm talking about. Hey y'all, times is getting real. Collard greens over Soylent Green. Collard greens over Soylent Green. Please like, share, and subscribe to B1AG Daily Bread Podcast. You know, like, share, and subscribe. Let's make this conversation bigger. We have to pay attention to what we are putting in our bodies. We have to pay attention to what they are doing with our food. We have to pay attention to how secure are we when it comes to our food. You know, Frederick Douglass said, the great Frederick Douglass told us, food can be used as a weapon, and it always has been. Because if they can control your food, they in fact control you. Because if you don't eat, you perish. If you don't know what the word perish means, that means die. If you don't eat, you die. That's just the way it's set up. It's that simple, you know. So you can sit here and pass these crate challenge games, or we can sit back and wait and have to play these hunger games. But me, I want to eat. You know what I'm saying? I want to eat. I don't know about you, but I want to eat. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to have to sit here and eat some mystery square. You know, I've always been, my grandfather was a farmer. We grew our own food, and I always had a sense of pride, just a sense of ease, knowing that, okay, when I'm eating this steak or I'm eating this hamburger, I know what I'm eating because I fed it. I know what that cow ate because I fed it. And we didn't feed it no junk. You know what I'm saying? We fed it real food. We fed it the best we could. We made sure that cow drank clean water. We made sure that cow ate corn stalks. We made sure that cow ate ears of corn that we grew ourselves. You know, there's no additives. There's no grease added to this meat for weight. You know, there's no colors added to this meat to make it look better. You know, we made sure that we fed when it came to our livestock, we fed it the best, and it gave us the best meat. You know, my family is full of big people. You know, and a lot of that becomes, you know, came because we ate great. You know, we ate good food. From Brian, you got any last words for the people, bro?
This is all I can say is this is a great opportunity. I'm very sincere when I say that. There's no perfect one solution, you know, to the plethora of issues that the melanated community is facing. But I am a strong proponent that our ability to just refocus on producing food, distributing food, developing networks within your community, whether it's your apartment complex, your neighborhood, your section, I think is the degree that we're able to refine these connections will be the degree that we have a choice in whatever this future looks like. If you turn the news off, if you turn the negative media off, I see nothing but air and opportunity. It is good to see, what's going on, but I think regardless if we see media or not, people have to eat. Getting into food production doesn't mean it has to take you from whatever you're interested in. It's just something to add to what we do. This is a couple hours out of the day, maybe 30 minutes out the day. I'm gonna read something about producing food. Okay, maybe I don't got a green thumb, but I got mouthpiece. I can talk to people. I can connect people. Okay, maybe I don't got a green thumb. Maybe I don't like talking a lot, but I understand numbers. I understand logistics. Maybe I'm not into any of that, but I can drive. I just need, because we see the issues are happening with shipping. And so maybe I'm gonna team up with a couple of brothers and sisters that I know that got some old box trucks. Find the mechanics around the hood that can fix them up. Throw a refrigeration unit in it. And regardless of what this possible dark winter turns into, hey, if the dark winter doesn't happen, then we got us a whole new distribution and storage company for 2022. Teaching these things become great content for at-home learning. A lot of people are being forced into making a decision. Okay, now, do I want my offspring being experimented on? Or am I going to take a chance and just figure out what I can do to teach them at home? Once again, whether we're talking about 2022 or 3032, people are always going to need to eat something. And so we have an opportunity. Our ancestors built the wealth of this country because of their agricultural prowess. When they say history repeats itself, we can repeat it. And, we throw this word black nation around. Well, a nation got to eat. And it starts with a seed.
It starts with the seed. Collard greens over Soylent Green, y'all. Collard greens over Soylent Green. Also, y'all please support our merchandise. You can get your B1AG merchandise. That is the URL at the bottom of the screen. Let me go ahead because I want y'all we have some great merchandise for you. And I would like to show it to you. Bam. Collard greens over Soylent Green, y'all. He go to shirts, sweatshirts, getting ready for this cold winter. Collard greens over Soylent Green. But also, we have your B1AG merchandise. You can get the t-shirts. Get your hoodies, zip-up hoodies, B1AG hoodies, and shirts. Again, you can choose your colors. Any color you like. If you want a different color, click on your t-shirt and you can pick your colors. If you want brown, navy blue, gray, black. Help us grow this platform, y'all. Help us to grow this platform. That is the URL at the bottom of the screen. B1AG merchandise.creatorspring.com. Help support the channel, y'all. Got to get this conversation bigger. And trust me, if you spend with us, this helps us to make an opportunity to where we do more than just talk with you and have these conversations. We're about that action, boss. We're trying to put some action items in place and do something. We live in a world now, we got to do something. We just can't talk about stuff. That's what everybody's too many people talking, and we have to get some more doing. But doing, that requires money, that requires effort. But of course, we all know, as we believe here at B1AG, one of our great sayings is many hands make light work. Many hands make light work. And we can make feeding our own people light work as long as we have many hands doing the work. Lend a hand, it makes that work a lot less taxing. It makes it that much easier. It makes it that much fun. It's a lot more fun when you have more people participating And I tell you what, being able to eat and feed yourself, that's a great thing, because we know our people really know what to do with that food when it comes to preparing, and it won't look like those food cubes that they're trying to introduce to us. So at the end of the day, if you really want to know something, what do the people need to do, Farmer Brown?
If you really want to know something, put them prints in the mud or create your own pot and soil and learn how to grow something.
There it is. Have a blessed day. We're in September, y'all. Winter's coming. Hey, let's get these seeds in the ground. Let's get this word about food, pass it around. Like, share, subscribe. B1AG Daily Bread Podcast. Let's make sure that we eat, we have a seat at the table, and we're not eating last. Hey, let's get it. Peace out.